Hello, my loves. How are you? We are going to do a Sacred Feminine series coming up, and we're going to drop in and just let it unfold and flow just like a Sacred Feminine would, right? So we're just going to open up and see what comes through. One of the first things that wanted to be acknowledged was yes, where we connected yesterday around some of the feminines feeling quite bored. But this is because you have reached the next phase, right? I also want to acknowledge that there are many feminines, many divine sacred feminines who are actually at this precipice point of feeling significantly embodied in their inner union energies and feeling the most secure that they ever have within their connection. And I also want to acknowledge that there may be some of you that feel the most secure you've ever felt within your connection, regardless of the physical world status. And you may also simultaneously be feeling some levels of boredom, right? This is actually kind of typical and makes sense for where we are headed into in this next phase. What I'm sensing and feeling to share with you around this Sacred Feminine series is deepening the Sacred Feminine embodiment, right? In that sense that you've tapped into those divine feminine essences. You've been working with unraveling and dissolving the wounded feminine energies, as well as the wounded masculine energies within, right? Embodying into your healed states more and more, learning how to temper and harmonize, learning how to face the shadows when they present, facing the triggers, accepting responsibility, and also learning how to drop into providing for yourself while simultaneously being in a state of surrender. And that's really where the internal union energies drop in more significantly when you are in that tempered, balanced, harmonious state of being able to be surrendered to the higher power, to be in your gorgeous, feminine, receptive energy, and at the same time, stabilized and providing for yourself in many different areas. Now, this is an interesting energy because many might think, well, if the feminine is in surrender and in her receptive energies, then she may not be taking specific actions. But actually, you also may find the more you drop in and stabilize in your internal union energies, that you actually are taking more and more actions, right? And as you're moving forward, whether there's masculines in your life or not, whether there's a counterpart present, a partner present, you may find that the more you're just prioritizing and providing for yourself, that if you are reaching situations where it would require a masculine to be present to support you with whatever comes next, but you're not in the energy of being needy per se, or in victim mode, or making excuses why you're not able to move forward, and you just continue to follow your guidance and move forward how you see fit, the masculine presence and the masculine supports will come forward. They may be in the form of an actual masculine partner. It may be as a friend or a family member or even a stranger or just some form of a helper or an angelic helper that just shows up out of nowhere. This masculine presence can come forward to meet you and support you in whatever is required for your next steps. And as you are surrendered and receptive in your sacred feminine energies, this will actually happen very effortlessly. It won't be something that you have to beg for or feel sad about that it's not present. When it is necessary and needed for your next steps and stages, it will show up and it will present for you. This is why it's so important to continue to step forward in your internal union and to unravel and release any of the expectations around you needing or requiring a specific masculine to be the one who supports you. Now, this also does not negate that it may be the exact masculine that shows up or is showing up for you. The beautiful part is that you're not doing it from a needy space, right? You're working in your independent energies, but you're also receptive to receiving in interdependent ways. Again, this kind of goes back to the exact video I shared on my other channel, where we're talking about moving out of codependent energies and out of ultra trauma response independent energies and opening up to receiving interdependent connections. And this is what a sacred embodied feminine will be doing, holding, and sharing and opening up to in the world, right? So if you're still finding places and spaces where you may feel uncomfortable or a little bit weird around opening up to receiving, this may be supportive, right? Or if you feel like, oh, if I need that or if I want that, am I now being needy or codependent, right? Or there's also the other side where you could be only waiting until a specific masculine shows up to walk with you and you won't move forward until that happens. Now, I'm guessing most of you are not in that place or space, but it can happen sometimes on this journey. That's kind of a normal pocket that some of us hit, if most of us, if not all of us, have experienced as part of the confusion as we're working through our initiation. So if you do or have found yourself in that energy, that's okay. That's part of the transformation. But this is also a key place where you can drop into providing for yourself the things that you've been looking for externally. Also, another layer of that is where you're actually dissolving and unraveling the old programming within your system that did at one point actually require you to have a masculine to move forward. And this comes from thinking about just a few generations ago where women were not allowed to buy houses or get jobs or run their own business, right? They the way society was built was where a woman was dependent on a masculine. And in many cases, to no fault of her own, that was the options that she had available to her. And she did what she needed to do to survive and hopefully thrive within those limitations that were in front of her. But it really wasn't that long ago. So many of us do have that information in our systems. So for me, I, prior to going through deeper states of this journey, did have a business, but I was operating some of it very deeply out of my masculine energies. Some parts were in the feminine, some parts were in the masculine, and I wasn't as integrated as I am now with those two parts. But I will tell you, since I have shifted to leading more from my feminine energies and allowing my masculine internal energies to supplement and support and provide for my feminine essences, it's really felt more in line with my natural nature. But there was a time on this journey where I had to drop into that and I had to be patient with actually unraveling out of the old programming because in the old template, that type of energy wasn't necessarily available for feminines to be in their feminine full essences in running businesses and X, Y, and Z. But many feminines are absolutely embodying into those states. And those are some of the topics that I want to talk to you about and work with you with in this series. And it doesn't just have to be about your own business. It can be about how you are approaching life, how you show up in your relationships, how you show up at your job, how you show up in parenting or in romance in your family. It could be really any dynamics that you all might want to touch on or talk about. Feel free to drop that in the comments if you have something specific. I know it was mentioned, and we've talked about how many of the feminines are being called to come out of hermit mode. And even those that have been somewhat out of hermit mode are being pushed even broader to uncloak even more and more and more. And it feels like this is happening because the feminines are actually genuinely ready, right? And that's why the boredom or the frustration is coming up. Not necessarily because it's about anyone else needing to do anything for you, maybe, but once you reach out and let yourself uncloak and open up, those other people, places, things, and resources may be what show up. You see what I mean? So some of the uncloaking is necessary for you to move through the boredom and the frustration so that you can actually receive what's waiting for you on the other side. Okay. So I'm really excited about this, but I do want to acknowledge and state and recognize how tremendously far the Sacred Feminine Collective has come. And if you connect with yesterday's video, if you've watched it, or if you would like to watch it, I'll put it in the pinned comment with the rest of my information. But within that video, I touched on and spoke about why I'm calling it the Sacred Feminine series. And it to me, it's that embodiment of the divine feminine into the human physical form. How are we showing up in the world as human beings embodied into those divine feminine essences, right? But actually able to show up in the world in embodied ways. And that to me is where the sacred feminine embodiment is coming forward. It's not where we're putting the human experiences on the back burner. No, we're welcoming those experiences and we're welcoming our higher selves and our higher perspectives and our intuitive, flowing, creative, gorgeous, divine feminine essences to feel safe to land in our body, to land on this planet. And our internal union energies are helping us to provide a safe, stable, secure environment and container for our sacred feminine essences to flourish. Okay, my loves. And again, if there is a masculine presence that is required to support your embodiment, to support your flourishing energies, to support your safety and stability, my loves, as you are doing that for yourself, those masculines or the masculine will present in your life, in your space. And it may be different masculines for different reasons. The most important part is as it feels aligned, you allow yourself to receive the supports that the masculines that are presenting are providing for you in gratitude, in thanks, right? Again, if it feels aligned and appropriate, there may be some masculines that present that it does not feel aligned for you to connect with and to receive from. Trust your intuition with that. Check in with yourself in what feels aligned. Give yourself the space and the grace to do so. Each one of you are going to be in different situations. You may also have masculines present that you're uncertain about, but you feel guided to move forward. My loves, this is always every situation that presents for you is an opportunity for you to embody into your truth, into your standards, It's an opportunity for you to practice and deepen the embodiment of how you handle situations, how you handle yourself, how you embody more deeply into those sacred feminine energies. How are you handling anything that's triggering you? How are you responding? How are you holding yourself? How are you moving with the next steps and stages that are being presented to you? It's not always about avoiding every single situation. Sometimes we're called to go into uncertain situations to develop the muscle, to develop our strength, to prove to ourselves that we can embody into exactly who we are, and we are protected, we are safe, we are secure, and we are stable because we've taken a responsibility for that for ourselves, right? Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I'm super excited about this series and this process. You may also see me posting other types of videos on the channel throughout the series because whatever is opening up for me seems to be opening up multiple streams of different waves of the collective. So I will continue to allow that to unfold. I will continue to share on my Patreon, and I do feel like more is going to be opening up with that. And I will also be posting more on my Danielle Wilk channel again around these relationship dynamics, the codependent to interdependent dynamics, and also other embodiment topics. I have this sense that the topics and the videos will sort of flow together, but my Danielle Wilk channel, I wanted to, and I felt guided to create that for those that are on the journey, of course, if you feel guided, but also a place for those that don't necessarily resonate with the twin flame divine counterpart collective energies, but are also very much going through an ascension evolution process because so many people are awakening and going through new things and wanting to understand these energies deeper. And I also have lots of other skill sets outside of just the Divine Counterpart Collective. It feels good to expand and share there as well for any of you who want to connect with me there. Or, you know what, share it with others who might benefit from it. Okay. So we're going to leave it there. And we will let this continue to flow and unfold and show us how it wants to present. Of course, those of you here with me, liking, subscribing, commenting, your co creation energy, your reciprocity absolutely is a part of this series, of these videos, of this channel. Whatever we're doing here, yes, I co create with Source always and my higher self. But my intention is to use my skills to bring forth the most beneficial supports for those of you that are here present with me or who will find me, who will benefit from what I'm sharing. All right, my loves, again, sending you so much love and looking forward to this next phase with you in the Sacred Feminine series and more. Lots of love. Take care. Bye.